Hi there, Zen Witch, another in my Art of Ritual series, and this one is about calling in the quarters. After you've cast your circle, so watch that video if you haven't watched that one yet. After you cast the circle and you've created this clean space with nothing in it except you, then you are going to specifically invite in, number one, your protection. Casting the quarters is all about aid and protection. You are stationing them there to protect you in the realm of each of the four elements. So you're kind of calling in a guardian. And in Gardnerian Wicca, so I'm going back to Janet and Stuart Farrer's, which is Bible Complete. I'm going to read out of this. And, hold on. And so this is how Gardnerians do it, and then I'll tell you how I do it now and how it's morphed. The language in this book is extremely formal, and when you look at the opening ritual, it's like, holy crap, it would be, to do it without cards would be difficult. People would really have to memorize things, and has that very formal feeling to it. And I will tell you that a circle cast with a group of people in that formal manner is incredibly powerful. Can be incredibly powerful. It's all up to the people that do it and the commitment that they bring. So here's a general thing about energy. And ritual is theater, that I might have mentioned before. And what makes good theater, what makes a good actor is commitment, is someone who is 100% in that part and they are absolutely committed to it and aren't going to break out of it no matter what. So what makes a good circle is commitment. I've heard about circles where people, kind of newbies are trying to have a circle, but no, everybody's too embarrassed to take it seriously. So they're goofing around and they're making fun of what they're doing out of their own kind of anxiety and shame and embarrassment. And boy, does it not get off the ground. It just turns into a mess. And that is not to say that there's no place for humor in circle. I always bring humor into whatever I do, but there's a time for it. And when you're casting the circle, it's not the time for it. Now, if you fuck up and you're casting the circle, and you catch yourself, having a giggle is no big deal. Then get right back on track and keep going. So when you're casting the quarters or calling the quarters in a Gardnerian circle, it is very formulaic. And I will read to you the way they go. So they start in the east. Ye lords of the watchtowers of the east, ye lords of air, I do summon, stir, and call you up to witness our rights and to guard the circle. And that's it. Now, I don't use ye's and thou's and these and stuff. So I have heard, I call to you guardians of the watchtowers of the east, the sylphs of air. Please be with us in our rights. So you're asking them, number one, to protect, and you're asking them, number two, to aid the work that you're doing. So they are outward looking on one hand because they're guardians and they're making sure that no energy uninvited comes in. And then they're inward looking because you want them to witness what you're doing and lend the power of that element to your right. So this Gardnerian casting is a little simple in that regard. I summon, stir, and call you up to witness the right and guard the circle. I mean, what else do you need to say? I guess that says it all. The way I do it is I will say, I call to you, spirit of air. And I often use an athame. I just as often use my hand, my right hand, my sending hand. So I will be facing the east, and you can start in the east, you can start in the north, and really you can start in any quarter that you need to start in. If you're really focusing on water, you can start calling the quarters with water. If it makes sense to you and you can make it play so it really makes sense to you, then do it that way. You don't have to be dogmatic about this. Generally, I start in the east. At least that's where I'm starting for this video. And my general words will be, so I'm facing, this is the east for me right now. I call to you, the spirit of air, to be with me in my right this night. Come, blow in the breezes of the east, clear my mind. I open the window so that you may enter in. Be here and aid your energy to my right. Protect me from any excess or deficiency in the realm of air. By my will and with perfect love and perfect trust, I welcome you here. So mote it be. So, what I am doing with my hand, and I'm going to turn around so that you can see this. An invoking pentagram starts at the top and comes down and to the left. So if you're right-handed, you're crossing your body. Up, starts up here, down into the left, here, 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 and here. And when my arm comes back up, woof. Okay, and then I draw a big circle around it, and then I pull my blade in, I kiss it, back out, and back to my heart. So, standing facing you, going to be the opposite, you know. Well, let me do it this way. And then I bow. So facing you, it looks like this. Across the pentagram. Whoops, circle. Out, and then back to the heart with a bow. Hope you could hear that okay. And when I draw that circle around it, so I do the pentagram, so you're invoking, when you bring it down and across your body, imagine that energy rushing in. And then drawing the rest of the pentagram is just a seal and a filter so that the energy coming in is pure. And then you draw that circle around it. And I imagine that that creates like a window or a door that swings open to let that energy in. And then when I bring it back and I kiss my blade, and then it just goes back out to them, that's sending my love out there. And then I bring in their blessings with a little bow to the heart. And then you continue on to the next quarter. I call to you, and the sylphs are the creatures of air, so you can put the sylphs of air in there. You can get really poetic with it if you're looking at a particular reason for your ritual. That can start to come out while you're calling the quarters. So when you set your intent, here's the magic I'm doing this ritual, here's what I want to create. You can start creating that with what you're asking for from the quarters. So for the East, you can do this formal, come and protect us from any excess or deficiency. I really like this phrase too. From any excess or deficiency in the realm of air. I don't want wind blowing down my house. I also want plenty of air to breathe. So protect me from excess or deficiency. And then I might say, let my mind be clear, my thoughts be clear. Let our communication flow freely and words flow joyfully and freely between us. Let me be inspired. All the things that air is about. And if you don't know that, go back and watch the air video. Then you go to the south and invoking fire. I call to you, spirit of fire, the salamanders, which is the creature of fire. Please come to witness and aid me in my right tonight. Protect me against any excess or deficiency in the realm of fire. So I don't want my candles flaring up and catching something on fire. I also want heat and warmth and vision. Clear my vision, shine on my path. Let me see where my footsteps are leading me. Let my will be strong and sharp. Let me be aware of the consequences of my actions. All of these things are in the realm of fire. Fire is will. This is the double-edged blade. I make a decision. It cuts both ways. Decision, consequence. Okay? So, asking in the fire, the guardians of fire. And you can also, I have a guide that stands in each quarter. So when I'm invoking the quarters, I'm talking to them. When I invoke East, I'm talking to Lloyd and asking him to be here with me, as he always is anyway, and all that kind of stuff. And then we go to the West. I call to the spirit of water, gentle rain, the lakes and the rivers, the beautiful ocean, the source of life. I call to you to flow through, bring your healing, bring your connection, bring the joy, and the depth of feeling of all of life. So call in all of those things. Protect me from any excess and deficiency in the realm of water. And you know, the excess and deficiency, you're not just talking about the physical air, you're talking about in your mind. In the south, you're talking about excess and deficiency of will. In the west, you're talking about excess and deficiency in the emotional realm. So you're not swept away by emotions and you're not numbed out. Those are the excess and deficiencies. So calling in, doing the pentagram and the window, you know, all of that. And again, the motions that you come up with, and I don't really remember being taught the kissing and thing. I probably was, but I don't specifically remember. It's just what I do. So you do what you do, and it can change every time too. And don't be hard on yourself if you fuck the words up. I wanted to say this and I didn't say that. It doesn't matter, particularly if you're doing ritual on your own. And if you're doing ritual with people, write it on a card. Don't make people memorize things. If they're going to be nervous, you can memorize something, and then when you're in the moment and nerves hit and it flies right out of your head, put it on a card so that you can express through it without having to worry about memorizing. Okay, so with group rituals, make it easy to get it right. Make it easy on the people that are helping you to get it right, and have things written down so people don't have to worry about it, especially if you have particular things that you need to be said. Then I call to you guardians of earth, and you can say the guardians of earth or the creature of earth, or, you know, you can name creatures. I call to you, you know, the fish and the mermaids and stuff for water. Just, you know, be creative with this. It makes it live in your right brain when you're being creative and very visual with the imagery that you're putting out. So call to the earth, the spirits of earth, the gnomes. The water creature is an undine. That's the magical creature. So you have sylphs for air, salamanders for fire, undines for water, and gnomes for earth. Call in the gnomes. Please be here. Support my body. May I have health in my body and support my physical energy and aid me in my right this night. Help me make things manifest. Protect me from any excess and deficiency in the realm of earth. Please be there for me. You know, so again, you're asking them to protect and you're asking them to aid. And one of the things I used to say and still do sometimes is, what the hell is it now? I will say, you know, come, I invite you here to aid me in my right this night. Please be here and aid me in my right this night. I call you here. Sometimes I'll say your priestess Luna calls you. I call you here. Your priestess calls you. I am looking at you. You know, just these images of connection with them. I will say, I call you here by my will, and as by my will, so mote it be. I call you here. This is another thing you can do that I often would do. I call you here in perfect love and perfect trust. But mostly I call you here by my will, and as I do will, so mote it be. That's the phrase. As I do will, so mote it be. Okay. And then I'll talk about dismissing the quarters as well. Why not? Dismissing in a ritual is as important as invoking. I know there's a ritual about creating an Egyptian temple, and it says that the temple just stays there until it wants to leave, and that's nice. But one of the things that you really need to do at the end of a ritual is ground. So the closing of the ritual can be important as far as sending back energy, so you don't have excess. You know, if you just walk away from a ritual and don't close things down and don't ground, you're going to stay up all night, and maybe not in a pleasant way. So the releasing of the quarters can be a very important thing, and it's also where you can give thanks. You give thanks in ritual anyway, but this is another opportunity to just say thank you. And I don't make the closing as long as the casting, because usually by the end it's like, yeah, we want to close this down, you know. So you can say, you know, I give thanks to the guardians of the East, to the spirit of air, for being here, for inspiring our right, and for making our communication joyful and clear, and Here are the phrases that I always say. I bid you stay if you will, go if you must. This is from the first rituals I was taught in Gardnerian, and it's a lovely thing. Stay if you will, go if you must. So and what I add to it is, though I know we can never be separated. So I give them, the stay or go and invite them to stay, but then I make the statement that, in truth, we can never be separated. Because where are you calling these things forth from? Right here. They are part of you. It all lives in you. In circle, you are externalizing the sacredness that lives in you and giving it a form, an external form that you can play in. So, thank you. And the Gardnerians would say, hail and farewell. And that's a great thing to say, too. Hail and farewell to the guardians of the East. Thank you for witnessing our right. Thank you for being here. Until we meet again, stay if you will, go if you must. Blessed be. And then you are doing a banishing pentagram, which looks like this. You start down here. When you were doing, God, I don't know what's right and left. When you were doing the invoking, you started up at the right and went down to the left. You start down to the left and go up, down, and across like this. Okay. So that is the banishing. You're sending away with that first stroke. And then you go around and do that with each of the quarters. Like I said, much more simply than the invoking, because you've already called in all the energies you want. You've played with those energies. You've pointed them where you want them to go. Now you just need to say thank you and see you next time. All right. But always remembering that you can never be separated from those. So I think that's all I want to say there. I know I did a thing on casting the circle and I never did a thing on closing the circle. I'll probably do a more formal thing on closing the whole circle down. But that's the quarters, invoking and saying goodbye to them and what you do it for. Let me know if you've got any questions and let me know what your experiences are. I'd love to know how you call your quarters. I will see you next time. This has been the Zen Witch. Blessed be.